No, I think that Ghana has won the day, and Ghana has won the day because Mr. Speaker just read what the order says, what the law says, and it's not about whether I, Ablaji Fagumashi, agree or not agree. This is what we have agreed collectively that should guide us going forward. And I think that precedence is always good. It gives you benefit of knowledge acquired. And this is not the first time that this House has gone through this. And so I'm glad that he's followed the principles of the game and ruled that we adjourn sine die. When he thinks that it's convenient for us to be recalled, we will come.
What were your expectations today when coming here?
Truth be told, I was hoping that having had the benefit of time, the minority NPP group would rescind their decision and their posturing, and in the interest of our country, come and sit down for us to do business for government. I was hoping that they would, but they didn't, and here we are. Good luck to all of us. I'm going to Katusha to campaign for my president incoming.
Thank you very much.
Speaker, Right Honorable Bagbin, say one more rule of law. I said, Supreme Court, you baby, I don't miss some local, you baby, I don't miss because no one is sick after Supreme Court. I judge some more, Mamma, you say, I didn't know my Yamma. As I say, yeah, Naramina, me, my school of law, and I mean, university. I say, oh, kind of social studies, a year or secondary school year. I said the various arms of government, they've been instituted so as to give separation of powers to the various bodies in order for us to be able to check and balance the system. And I said the equation into saying now so who was Supreme Court now to be ever Parliament ever be detected to what the Speaker of Parliament can do. I just Rano and we are the seen trust. It's a one day me no win actually. We did this by this time baby let's be a check on one another. However, no, you cannot come all the way to Parliament and come and overturn what the Speaker has done. I think that the Speaker is going according to the Constitution of Ghana, and we must uphold the Constitution.
Thank you very much.
Who comment? What do you know? Leadership.
The leader will speak briefly, but
before, don't worry about this. Please, we are going to be very brief.
You are dealing with the majority leader, so
yes.
And you must describe you must sex.
You people
who answer any question.
Some of you good afternoon. They threaten some of you now. The majority leader.
We want to make something very clear. The NDC members of Parliament are in the majority in Ghana's Parliament. We've made our position, and it's so clear. We are not changing our positions. We see ourselves as the majority. We are fortified by the Constitution and the standing orders of this House, and we see ourselves as the majority. We are grateful to the Right Honourable Speaker for doing what is right, and we respect his decision. We hope that the time will come that this House will be recalled and will take our position as the majority caucus. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Also, in terms of your sitting position, the fact is that within the House, we will be at the majority side. Around 30%. Even the working majority in the House will be at the majority, and in practice too, by the vacancy we are the majority. But say no ebida court and a speaker the process be about 7 in Yamano. Say see our journey indefinitely. Be agidi say by the time we friend back no in some same we are resolving it now. But say see the majority say the best decision speaker taking and it's a suspending House indefinitely. After all, the House here you was here government business in Nakaye because say midterm financial bills and as a budget hearing estimates hearing in England major government business. It's like a buying moment like a or take a cue from ruling a speaker Maya and as a announcement speaker Maya last week, saying no more reaching out to the current majority. But some person only can not cancel Sa majority ni anyankopɔ di ama yɛ wopɛ sɛ wogye free and sɛ ndɛ yɛ ngye ntom ɛno na akɔfa asɛm aba and then the speaker wa agye the house in that and as wa agye indefinitely nti yɛ deɛ kɔ ne yɛ kɔ sisa campaign ɛne yɛ kɔ campaign mu ɔdin yie paa so that 7th December no minority ɔmo sisia no na yɛama ɔmo so ayɛ ɔmo clear after 7th December ɛno yɛba house we a ɔmo mɛ challenge yɛn biem
ofisi nyankopɔ na deɛ ma mo nyɛ kuti kwan so na mafa de
David nyame na deɛ ma yɛ onim sɛ ɔbɛka yɛ a ɛfiri ma yɛba saa parliament we no na kana NDC ɛne na ka majority ɔmo fa kwan biara so ɛyɛ kra ɛdi judges for yi bia ɛyɛ member back free your side but ɔmo yi ni free hɔ na ɔkɔ by election no onyankopɔ ma ne nkrɔfoɔ ɛsa to ma no enti no in leadership there is something about God. There is a hand of God in everything. Now, so Nyankopon sa kasa na se nyame kasa se nipa da se ne yebomode ne yetie na kan ye si o parliament ano ye nyina na ka bedi nukre na ka di nukre de be ye adwuma na ka ne AC sesia na ka AC because how can you be a political party without principles? Say 2020 no dey na possible. Now 2024 dey enye possible and then you are still screaming it is possible. So what is possible and what is not possible as far as you are concerned because you are so inconsistent with yourself. You nya we enrano and about the bot techino un person dey ban. I mean, which kind of person is that? Internet the many ajike say I am going home as a majority Francis Xavier Susu and I may call na makoye board akoye first I campaign mo dini ye pa my his excellency John Dramani Mahama and I'm sure say NDC for no grounds they because a campaign so that by the end of 7th December no we will return back to this house with an overwhelming majority. Say new man is a bonia aban we dey our parliament hano enti eno dem obi anda da wo. As of today, the majority of parliament. The emphasis is a clash, a constitutional crisis. Speaker, why say why journey house no synod. But we are going to the house as a majority caucus, and they are minority caucus. Anytime we ever back to this house, we will come back here as majority caucus.
I mean,
they asked me, so Kwame Nkrumah. That's how they identified me. But today they identify you as the Galamsey King, all kinds of things that doesn't improve the nation. So anyways, I won't go into too much of today's business. We've cut it clear and short. We want to save all the heartache of Ghanaians. We are going back to our various constituencies and campaign hard and come back and continue to form our majority seat. Thank you.
The majority group. Yende, I already say like I'm holding the Ghana flag is here. We are ready to serve Ghana, but minority MPP for Nwamba. So we are here as a form quorum, but we cannot make decisions because nipa half from here to make decisions. They need at least 2/3. It's Speaker Alban, Alban Pie, everything else here. But one now Corona show as one away party in power. They have to bring business. But none of them will be in here. It's Yamiado, Yabayagana, we're ready. Now, NDC majority, we are also ready. Saying, yeah,
the speaker never framework.
Says speaker is on standby. Only problem. Speaker say what can only problem. He's on standby. It's no say. Nipano they be a beba na ye form quorum to make a decision. And I was say also sadia you come back to your constituency. Being an MP and your only theory and practicals. So you the theory aspect, we are not getting the numbers. Now we go and do the practical aspect. That is the field work. To you come back to your constituencies now.
Sir, Honorable Akam, Parliament itself as in the chamber. It's been closed, synodine as indefinitely. Adjourned indefinitely. The definitely is important because we don't know when. When normally we say adjourned, we say a voucher. But it's been indefinitely. And we are waiting for the direction of the speaker. I know that backdoor consultations are being done. Speaker himself, Supreme Court. Action suffering, and that's what my 7 based on Honorable Afenyo Mark and some of the it has not been finally determined. And I'm sure that when things are clear, the speaker will call us and we will be back. But you know, the job of a parliamentarian is not just coming to the chamber. There are committee meetings that are still going on. From here, I'm going to a committee meeting. So committee meetings are going on. Also, constituency work is also going on. As you know, your election years is here. A lot of things are happening in the constituency. So I think members will be heading back if they don't have committee meetings in Accra to continue their work as we have always done anytime we adjourn.
Came to me as a surprise. The reason is simply that I expected that the MPP were going to boycott from the look of things on the floor, and that is what exactly happened. And of course, because they boycotted, I also knew that the rule on decision making will be triggered by Mr. Speaker, and that's what he has done, in terms of the Constitution.
Talking about the rule on decision making,
yes.
If your side had been able to get the entire 136,
yes,
that would have been at least half, right?
Yes, that would have been half, and that would have meant that we could have gone ahead to take decisions. But you see, the current situation does not prevent us actually strictly from going ahead, to conduct parliamentary business. We can conduct parliamentary business, but we are not able to vote and take a decision on it. So if we had all the 136 members, would have satisfied the constitutional threshold, and we could have gone ahead to conduct business. And that's what we intend to do if Parliament reconvenes, after the agenda.
What happens now? Of course, the legal processes are still active. What happens?
Well, I am not in the mind of Mr. Speaker. As I said, he has instructed his lawyers, and then the lawyers, I'm sure, are working assiduously to ensure that the right processes are filed so that Mr. Speaker's position is vindicated in court. Because we think that the Speaker was right from day one when he made that assessment. And that is because, you see, Article 97 itself, all right, is triggered by the occurrence of certain factual, matters on the ground, all right, like a person going to file to contest as an independent if they, whilst they are here on the ticket of a party. That factual occurrence, once it is established, it means that Article 97 is triggered. There is no issue of interpretation. There's no controversy. The fact that in the past, people who were independent, joined parties and contested, and Parliament did not take a step, does not necessarily mean that Parliament is barred permanently from taking a step when that occurs. So for me, what Mr. Speaker did was right. The Supreme Court was wrong, and Mr. Speaker's lawyers will be working to set aside the ruling of the court.
Can anybody say that the decision that was arrived at by Speaker today to adjourn to suspend this particular meeting indefinitely is as a result of the ruling of the Supreme Court? Can we say that?
No, not necessarily. I don't think so. Mr. Speaker did refer briefly to the happenings, with the Supreme Court, but I think that it was the quorum issue that principally, motivated the stance taken by Mr. Speaker.
And the House citizens could the Speaker, if you have quorum for decision and quorum for starting business, I've gone ahead. Many will have said that it will have been cited for contempt of the court.
No, not necessarily. Mr. Speaker is a constitutional office holder. There are certain powers vested in him under the Constitution. It does not mean that he cannot exercise those powers, right? Just because the Supreme Court says, he should stay his ruling. All right, he could have gone ahead to conduct business, okay, without touching on the question of who is the majority and who is the minority. All right, and Parliament is a master of its own rules. So definitely, we ourselves, the members of Parliament, both on the side of the NDC and the side of the MPP, could have come to a certain, consensus on this matter. It is just because, the MPP is taking a very entrenched stance on this matter, and they do not want a negotiated settlement. The fact is that, all right, matters have occurred that have triggered the application of Article 97, G and H of the Constitution, and Mr. Speaker has done right by the Constitution. Period.
The argument is that he interpreted the Constitution, so he shared the powers.
No. Those, you see, they are trying to create, a storm where there's no one. There's no storm, or as we used to say in secondary school, it's a storm in a teacup. All right. because they are invoking the specter of interpretation of the Constitution. There's nothing to interpret. All right, you yourself read Article 97. What is there to interpret? You interpret where there is an ambiguity, where there's lack of clarity, and different meanings are being assigned to different provision. I mean, the same provision of the Constitution. But that's not the case we are faced with. We are faced with a situation where factual parameters, defined by the Constitution itself, have occurred, and we are applying the Constitution. So there is nothing to interpret. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr.